Welcome back. This is Eric Mortensen, Senior Legislative Advisor at Liberty Action, the legislative arm of Young Americans for Liberty. And joining me today is our newest Hazlitt Coalition member. And I'll talk a little bit more about what is this Hazlitt Coalition. But before I do, let's welcome Representative Lindee Brill out of Wisconsin. How are you doing today, Representative Brill?
I'm having a great day. It's summer in Wisconsin, which isn't very long.
And I'm just right next door. I'm in Minnesota. It's a beautiful summer. Our summers are short. We got to take advantage of these things.
Yep.
Well, I want to talk about, let's kind of lay out with the Hazlitt Coalition, because you are the newest member, and I rarely refer to the Hazlitt Coalition when I'm doing these videos. But in a nutshell, the Hazlitt Coalition is a coalition of liberty-minded legislators, about 350 of them, all across the United States. I think we have members in 38 or 39 states right now, where to be a member, you take a very robust survey. I used to be a Hazlitt Coalition member, and I remember the survey. It's like 7-8 pages long, more essay style. It tends to be one of the most not necessarily complex, but intensive surveys from issue advocacy organizations. So we survey folks. I think this year we've surveyed 800 legislative candidates. We review that survey to see if they're aligned with the principles of liberty. We do background checks. We do interviews with folks. And if everything checks out, we welcome them to the coalition, just like we welcomed you to the Hazlitt Coalition, I think about a week ago.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Good. Yeah, I'm excited too. I think you're up to some great stuff. I want to ask you, first of all, what's like your origin story? What made you get off the couch and decide, to heck with this, I'm running for office?
So my mom raised me that if you want to see change, if you want to see better for your community, you go fight for it. And so my mom was an active member in the Republican Party. I was raising a family, not always able to get to the nighttime meetings, do that kind of thing, but was very vocal in the Republican movement. And I kind of had this glassy-eyed look of what the Republican Party was all about. Especially being from a conservative part of the state, I had this idea that, yes, you can fight for change. Yes, Republicans really are conservative. Yes, Republicans do want to cut taxes. And I was like, I'm going to do it. Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, right out of the gate, when I ran, I said I wanted to replace the leadership in our party, because I saw that our speaker wasn't embodying, in my opinion, what true conservative values were. Yeah. So I pushed hard from the start, and learned very quickly that the Republican Party was not the shiny party that I thought it was. It wasn't didn't represent what I thought.
And people learn that lesson. I learned that lesson when I ran for office for the first time in 2018. And Republicans spent more money against me than they did my Democrat opponent. And now seeing and meeting Hazlitt members all across the country, even in red states like Missouri, Montana, Louisiana, Oklahoma, deep red states. Oklahoma, I think in 2024, every single county in Oklahoma voted for Trump with a majority. I think it's the only state in the nation that every single county went for President Trump. Wow. So people just assume, oh, well, they're a Republican. They have an R behind their name. They must be very conservative and care about my individual liberties. So it's interesting to kind of get a glimpse into that. Hasn't quite been your experience, and believe me, you're not alone. So you and I first met maybe 5-6 weeks ago. I think it was Delegate Chris Anders out of West Virginia, who is in the Hazlitt Coalition. He reached out to me and said, hey, you need to get a hold of this gal in Wisconsin, Lindee Brill. How did you end up meeting Chris Anders? How did you end up discovering Young Americans for Liberty?
Sure. So I met Chris Anders at the Students for Life Collective back in June. I walked into a room and realized that I was with legislators from across the nation who had the same perspective I did, that why is leadership fighting against us? And I really thought this was a purple issue. Like, oh, I live in Wisconsin. We've kind of, as Republicans, taken on this identity that we're holding back the Democrats. Like, this is very heroic. Like, we have to, toe the line. And so I thought when I would meet with other deep red states that I was like, their perspective is going to be totally different. I came to find out it wasn't. So when I met Chris Anders, he spoke about the Hazlitt Coalition and spoke about what it looked like to be a liberty-minded legislator. And I couldn't take notes fast enough. I was like, I still have the notes in this exact notebook I actually sitting in front of me.
Nice.
And it was like a light bulb went off that I was like, there's a whole group of us out there who really, truly care about seeing constitutionally how this country was formed and want to get back to it. And Chris just got me excited about the fact that there were others. And so it was great to meet him. It's been great to follow him since.
Yeah, I think Chris Anders, what was that?
He does incredible work.
Yeah. And I think Chris Anders is a shining example of a Hazlitt Coalition member, or we can just kind of more broadly say a liberty-minded legislator who votes their oath and fights for change within their capital. I'd call him a liberty champion in West Virginia, and the people love it. Chris Anders has been on Fox News and Newsmax and all these different, cable news networks, highlighting the great work of the West Virginia legislature, specifically on banning flock cameras. People appreciate fighters. There's a reason we love the movie Braveheart. It's a person who goes in, fights for change, fights for freedom, and does not sell out. There is countless times where Braveheart could have sold his soul and said, you know what, I'll just take the land. I'll live a life of luxury for the rest of my life. But he didn't. He pressed on and kept doubling down. People love that stuff. And I wish the more establishment type Republicans out there would understand that. In Minnesota, we just had our primary, just like you guys, on Tuesday night. And the Minnesota Freedom Caucus, all of them who were primaried won their primary on Tuesday night.
That's wonderful.
Freedom, yes, it is. Freedom is still a winning message. Even in 2026, in electoral politics, people believe in the mission of liberty. I wish all Republicans would get on board.
Me too. The issue is, I think a lot of Republicans have it in their heart. They know it's the right thing to do. But as I still remember, I had a conversation recently with a staffer. He said, it's one thing for me to be conservative and have strong values, but I'm not the one who has to take the phone calls. We take an oath to abide by the Constitution of both our nation and our state, and I'll take every phone call and tell them that's what I'm doing.
100%.
If we don't have the gumption to do that, we shouldn't be serving, in my opinion.
Yes, I love that you say that. I tell people the biggest shortage, like we remember 2020, the toilet paper shortage. I mean, people were up in arms about the toilet paper shortage. The shortage I'm concerned about is the shortage of political courage in this country. People and politicians in particular who have no political backbone. They just do whatever's easiest. And when 99% of the lobbyists in every single stinking state capital are a bunch of big government liberals, that tends to be the easier way for them to vote.
Yep. Yeah. It makes campaigns easier. So, all of a sudden if I take money here, well, then I'll talk to them in the Capitol. And politicians can say that doesn't happen, but the fact is it does. It is absolutely. If you look at some of the most ridiculous bills we passed this session in Wisconsin, Republican-led, that shouldn't be Republican-led, there's lobby money in all of them.
Yeah.
And so we can sit there and say it's not true, but the writing is... it's there. It's happening.
Oh, yeah. And this is a great opportunity, because if people are watching this and here's a sitting state representative saying politicians listen to the people who can affect their election. And if that is a demoralizing message for you, and you're thinking, well, what's the point? Here's the point. You, as individual voters, is the most powerful thing you have is your vote. You have a ton of political power that you can wield. But if you don't know how to wield your political power in order to put the fear of election losses in the eyes of politicians, reach out to us. Reach out to us right here, libertyaction.us/make liberty win. Tell us what you want to do. Do you want to host events? Do you want to run for office? Do you want to have maybe a fundraising event? Maybe you want to knock doors. Maybe you want to make phone calls. You can wield your political power and instill fear in the eyes of politicians, which is how you earn their political respect. Just reach out to us. We want to coach you. We want to train you. I just spent all of last Saturday in Billings, Montana, training 40 freedom fighters on how to more effectively wield their political power. So nobody should ever watch this and go, "Oh, I have no power." Baloney. You do, but you just need to learn how to wield it. And we at Young Americans for Liberty would love the opportunity to teach you on how to do just that.
That's fantastic.
And speaking of which, I would love to do a training in the Milwaukee area. My daughter's going to Marquette here in 2 weeks, so we should make that happen.
Yes.
So Representative Brill, you're still a freshman legislature. You got 2 sessions under your belt. But what are some of the biggest lessons that you have learned in your first term that maybe you even want to offer that guidance to first-time candidates in Wisconsin or anywhere in the country for that matter?
Yeah, the term I used when I spoke at SoCon 2 weeks ago is the term honeymoon. Don't ever get out of the honeymoon phase of being in politics. When you do, don't run for re-election. That we should stay on fire for what we're doing. We should be reminded that those who signed our Declaration of Independence did it knowing they could be bayoneted for it, that they could be tried for it. So if we lose that fire to fight for that, we shouldn't be in office any longer, because that declaration was signed and then our Constitution was put in place to be a unique country and to be a nation that respected liberty, but also took into effect the good of people. And it allowed us freedoms there to govern, but also allowed for the people to have a voice in that. So if after 2 years you're like, you know what, I don't know that I want to be the no against the leadership because that's just too hard, don't run again. Find another patriot to run in your place. But if you need a little fire up, make sure you save all those flyers they sent out against you, those nasty texts, save those voicemails. And when they start to say, oh no, we're friends, or here, we'll let your bill have a hearing. We really like you. Go back and listen to those. Save the screenshots of who gave money against you. Go back and look at those and remind those are the people now who are trying to get your votes, who are asking you to compromise on your values, who are saying, well, it's okay if we allow for this little bit of freedom, because if we don't, then the other side might take it all away. If you know it's not, doesn't go with your values, vote against it, get mad.
Yes.
And stay one step ahead of them. We talk a lot about sometimes leadership within the establishment plays 3D chess. We'll learn how to play 4D.
Yes.
I don't, have amendments ready. That's something I definitely need to work on. We just don't have that mentality in Wisconsin to play full out battle against our leadership. I definitely whipped votes. I had conversations behind closed doors. I didn't do a lot of activity on the floor to stop them. So that's something in my arsenal I need to work on.
Yeah. I love what you're saying there, because it hits home for me. And that's what I did, frankly, in 2020, when I got elected. I brought all of the hit pieces that the swampy Republicans in Minnesota sent to my hometown, the town I grew up in, and I framed them. I hung them up on my office walls in the Capitol. I wanted those SOBs that anytime they come in my office and they turn around eventually, because they weren't going to be in there long, and they start walking out the door, the last thing they see are the hit pieces that they sent to the people in my district. I wanted them to know that was fuel to my fire, that I wasn't going to back down. And another little bit of advice I'd give folks is put your principles above your political ambitions. If you really ran to be the constitutionalist, the pro-liberty person, the I won't vote to spend a nickel or to grow government spending by a nickel, and I won't increase taxes one iota, put those promises above your political ambitions, which is very, very rare for people to do. It's why I think people are generally disgusted by politicians, and why we want to really highlight what are the Hazlitt members doing out there. If someone in Wisconsin's watching this and their eyes are getting a little opened up with the reality of the political environment in Wisconsin, what's your best advice to liberty lovers in Wisconsin?
Wisconsin, don't give up on our state. Residents, don't give up. I mean, I think too often we just accept that we're a purple state. We actually have a chance in November to see that change, but red doesn't just mean Republican. We need to fight for liberty in our state and fight for true Republicans that are going to see change in our state, demand liberty minded individuals get in. And we just finished up Tuesday night, but now is not the time to sit back. We got to get through November, obviously, but start thinking of who those people are in your communities who can run as liberty minded representatives, senators, whatever position on your city councils. All those positions matter, and start the war now. I mean, battle is every day. When we run grassroots candidates, that's a long process. We can't just jump in April and think we're going to be able to take them on. We have to do the work now, and we've got to put in the work. Don't give up on it. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm pretty vocal on most social media. If you just need someone to talk to and ask what that looks like and how hard is it to say no, and say no when they say this is what we have to do. We can do this. Don't give up.
Yeah, I mean, I like to tell people, because in Minnesota, it's a very similar vibe, right? Republicans are just caving all the time. There's a big branding issue with what do you even get when you go vote, for the R. So I like to tell people, look, if you want excellent candidates, you as an individual voter must demand excellency from your candidates. Oftentimes, we just settle with, oh, well, that's all we've got now. So demanding excellency from these people. And if you're watching this and you're going, man, I want to get involved. Maybe you're fired up. Again, I'm going to point you to this site. Go to this site on the screen. Tell us what you want to do, whether that's running for office, becoming a more effective political activist. We are here to help you out. Go to that website. Tell us that you exist. Tell us that you want to get involved and how you want to get involved. We're happy to engage. And like I always try to end these things with, which is what all of our trainings talk about. The training you watched Chris Anders do at that event just in June. We always tell people, if you're sick and tired of being politically ignored, if you're sick and tired of being politically disrespected, if you want to be politically heard, you must be politically feared.